Hey, hi kids. It's me, Mr. Ruthier, and I am back. Okay, so we got our picture. We've got, this is part three. Hopefully you've done part one and two already. If you haven't, go back and do it. So we've got our two ground pieces in. Well, we've got one ground piece in, and we've got the two sky pieces in. And what we are going to do now is we are going to add the dead forest. Dead forest, that's a cool name, isn't it? Oh, no, we do have two ground pieces, don't we? Yeah, we have this one and we have this one. Okay. Oh, one thing. A couple of kids asked me why this right area looks different, and I finally figured out why. If you can see the layers here, I turned them all into large thumbnails. If you right-click here over in this left-hand section, you don't see anything. If you right-click on, how about this section right here? See that little icon? There it is. If you right-click right there, you can see I can change that to medium. I can change it to small, and probably small is what you guys have it set to automatically. And then there's like a no thumbnail section. But I think you guys are probably using the small one. But you can use any one you want. Isn't that great? Okay, dead forest. Let's find the dead forest and open it up by itself. File, open. Oh, there you are, dead forest. I love that name. I just like saying that. Dead forest. Whew. Okay, sorry. All right. Now what we're going to do is we want to get the forest selected by itself without the sky. And I've tried a bunch of different ways of doing this. And the way that this Photoshop lady suggested is kind of cool. It's a little weird, but follow me. Okay? We are going to select this whole thing. So select all. Isn't that nice? Now we're going to use a new tool that we have not used before. This is the color range tool. So we're going to click select color range. And this is a neat little tool. This is our fuzziness. And the fuzziness is, as you can see, I've used this before. When you bring this up, it's not going to look like this. I'm not sure what it's going to look like. But I've played with this for about 5 or 10 minutes. So, maybe yours will look like that, or it'll look like that, or whatever. But 28 is a nice number. So bring your fuzziness around to 28. And if this doesn't work, you can play with it a little bit, add a little more, add a little less. And then what I want you to do is come over here. Do you see these eyedroppers? Okay. We're going to use, what I used is the eyedropper with the plus sign on it. And what that does, you probably remember from other options, is every time I click this, it's going to add to the selection. And what you want to do is you want to click the sky. The sky is all this nice kind of pale light blue, and it looks white here. So you just want to click on this thing until all the sky and the sky in the background is all nice and white, and this dead forest is kind of a nice crisp black. Okay, you think you can do that for me? I would like that. Okay, so hopefully that's not a big deal, and you can get that done. I played, like I said, I played with this for 5 or 10 minutes trying to get it right, and this looks about the right way to do it. If not, call me over and I'll help you. Okay, so now I've got this area selected. I'm going to say OK, and you'll see right here all the sky is selected. Okay, I don't really want the sky, do I? What do I want? I want the dead forest. So how do I get the opposite? Any guesses? Select inverse. You remember we did that on another exercise. So now I have happily selected the dead forest. Isn't that great? Okay, so let's grab this thing, and we're going to copy it to our Halloween document. So we'll do edit, copy, and that's not it. That's not it. Oh, that looks like it. And we will put our, oh good, I'm getting emails. That's nice. So we're going to put our dead forest in here somewhere. Why don't we check and see where it goes? Because I don't remember. Isn't that sad? You would think, oh, Mr. Ruthier, you know everything. That's funny. Okay. Uh, Come on now. Show me where the dead forest. Okay, so here's our dead forest. We're using that color range thing that she suggested. Alright, so there it is. And we're placing it. Alright, so we're going to be placing the dead forest along the top of the hill. And as you can see, it's going to go over about 2/3 of the way. And we'll probably have to mess with it. So, alright, so let's bring it in. Edit. Paste. And we'll use the move tool. And we'll get this thing over here. Okay, now clearly this thing's going to need some help. So let's transform it. Edit. Free transform. And we'll stretch this thing out. And why don't we kind of bring it down a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Okay, dead forest. I think that looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like over here. Ooh, it's much bigger over there. Can we make ours bigger? Ooh, look at that. That's big. Is that big enough? Wow, it's huge. I'm shocked. Okay, so now we're making this thing bigger. Wow, that seems too big. Okay, well I like that. Let's put that there. And that looks kind of dumb over it. So why don't we bring that down and we'll put it behind that little hill. Let's see, will that do it? No, that doesn't do it. Bring it down some more. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now we've put our dead forest down here. And that's quite nice. Now notice we kind of wiped out that tree. So we're going to, as you can see here, we're going to put a mask on this. And we're going to get rid of this big tree in the middle, and we'll mask everything else out. La, 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 la. Okay. Okay, so we moved it there. We transformed it. Let's add a mask. Layer mask. Okay, that looks good. Let's turn on the old paintbrush. And, you know, no hardness, nice and big. Blah, blah, blah. Make sure we're on the mask itself. Okay, we can get rid of that. We don't need that tree. That's a little bit big. Alright, that looks good there. Okay, very nice. Looking good there. Now, let's tweak this forest up as we've been tweaking all the other layers up. So we're going to add the layer. Now remember, I've shown you a couple of different ways of adding adjustment layers. This is just another different way. We're using the layer, new adjustment layer, and we'll put our brightness in, attach it as a clipping mask, and let's drop the brightness down a little bit, about -10. That's nice. And let's jack the contrast up a little. 30. That looks sufficiently creepy. It's nice, and it's got a little bit too much color. So let's go and add another layer. Layer, new adjustment layer, and we'll suck some of the saturation, some of the color out of it. We'll desaturate it a little bit. So we'll take our saturation and let's drop it down. And ooh, that's starting to look pretty good. Let's go to 40, -40. Okay, that's swell. What I'd like to do now is I would like to make a copy of this and put it over here so we have a nice layer of dead trees going across the whole way, because this couldn't quite stretch enough. Okay, so here you can see, right, look at the layers here. This is that's your layer with the trees, and then you've got the brightness adjustment and the hue saturation adjustment. Now we need all three of those layers, and we're going to make a copy of it so we can put it over on the left. I just pointed to the left of the screen. I don't know if you could have seen me do that. I was hoping you might have seen it, but maybe you sensed it, some of you more intuitive students. So I'm going to hold, you've seen me do this. I can either hold the control key down and select each layer, or I can hold the shift key down and I can select the end here. So if I can click on that, and I just turn that off. Why did I do that? There we go. I don't click on the little layer there, mask. Click over here in the white area. So, or I could do the same thing. I could hold the control key down and unselect them or select them. The trick is, though, that you want this layer selected along with the two adjustments with it. Okay, now let's make a copy of that. If you go to Layer, Duplicate Layer, everyone see that? Boom. Now we have made a copy of Layer 3. And as we can see here, if we can, let's name this. This is the right side of the dead forest. And this is the left side of the dead forest. Cool. All right, well, let's take that and let's move this. And we'll pop it over here. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that's a little messy there with that, see that line there? That doesn't look particularly attractive. Okay, well, let's see what we can do with that. Click on your layer mask over on the right. Let's get the old paintbrush out and let's see if we can fix that up a little bit so it looks a little more natural. Okay, that looks nice. Okay, so now we got a nice, big, long, creepy layer. Feeling good here. What should we do next, folks? How about, let's see, how long has it been? Can we get away with putting Sugg in there before we do anything else? Sure. Let's do one more thing, and then we'll call this video a day. All right, so we're going to add a building, and we are going to use Sugg. Now, if you want to use something else, that's okay with me. But let's find the Sugg building. File, open, and the Sugg should be in here somewhere. And isn't that pretty? I took that picture myself. Yeah, aren't you amazed at my commitment to this class? I came over on a Saturday and took the picture. Even I don't believe it. Okay, so there's our building. Let's use, we just want to select the main part of the building. Let's use the polygonal lasso tool to select it. We're just using everything in here, aren't we? If you click on this third one down, you can see there's a lasso, polygonal, and then there's the magnetic. So we'll just go for the polygonal. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pick part of this building. Oh, let's see. Why don't we just do this main middle section, and then we'll do these little left and right sections here. So just grab it in the corner, click, and then let go, and then bring it down to the ground, click, and let go, just a little single click. And as you can see, it's going to just bring this all out for me. And then we'll go right to the edge, click. We'll bring it up, click. Okay, I'm going to go to the edge of the building right here, click. Up to the top, click. You can see it's adding these little points for me. Come over here, click. Come down here, click. Are you getting annoyed yet with all my clicking? And then bring it here, and you see that little circle? Now you can't see it anymore, right? But when I bring it down right here, see that little circle? That means you're going to end, and you're going to create a closed shape. And that's what we want, and then you'll have a nice selection just like that. Isn't that attractive? Cool. So why don't we take this, and we'll copy it into our picture. So edit copy. Come on over to our Sugg picture, and we'll just put it up on this hill up here. Edit, paste. Okay, now I want you to notice what happened. This has happened to me before, and this is pretty annoying. Do you see the picture in here? See how it's kind of indented to the right, and it's got this little arrow going down? What's happened is I must have had like a clipping layer selected, and so it's turned itself into a clipping layer. So let's fix this. One thing you could do is you could right-click on it and say release clipping layer, and that would do it. Another way you could do it if you wanted to is you could just undo the whole thing, deselect your layers. You could say, you know, layer, and there's something up here that deselects your, oh, it's under select. Select, deselect layers, and then you could import it, and then it wouldn't get stuck in there. Okay, so there's two ways of avoiding that. I just unselected it. That was my solution. Okay, so here is, let's click on the Move tool, and here is Sugg. Now it's taken up a little bit too much real estate here. I don't like that. Let's make that a lot smaller. So we'll do Edit, Free Transform, my favorite tool. Now, normally I always tell you to hold the Shift key down. That's not always true in the, you know, some of the last things that you did, like the sky and stuff like that, where you don't need to hold the Shift key down. Now for this though, I'd kind of like the building to stay proper, so let's try to hold the Shift key down first and see if that works. If it doesn't, then so what, I'll mess it up. Okay, so here is Sugg, and oh my gosh, it's kind of big. Let's kind of tilt it down. Oh, it's huge. Okay, I'm going to hold the Shift key down and make this a little bit smaller. WD Sugg Middle School. Doesn't it look good there? Boy, I wonder if maybe I should have made those trees bigger in the back. Does anyone think I should have made the trees bigger? Maybe I should make Sugg smaller. It's kind of neat to see the trees in the background. Now, there is one, and you want to make sure this is in the right place here. You want it to be behind this hill, but in front of the dead forest. Now, there is something dumb looking here. Can anyone see it? Yeah, it's these palm trees, okay? The palm trees, I can't really do much about those palm trees. But we'll suck some of the color out of this, and maybe we can pretend that they're part of the dead forest. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Okay. Now, so there we have that. Now, this obviously it's too bright, so we're going to go in and we're going to do the same thing we did to all the other ones. We are going to add a new adjustment layer, new adjustment layer, and let's go to brightness, and we want to turn this down a little bit. Okay, check the box, clipping mask, and then let's drop the brightness down about 10. It's a little bit too bright. And let's see, contrast up. Let's go down. Contrast minus 10. Let's see, how's that look? All right, that's starting to look better. Good. And there's way too much color in there, so let's suck some of the color out. So layer, new adjustment layer, hue and saturation. Yep, it's clipping mask. And let's drop the saturation down. Just bleed the color right out of it. How about a minus 50? All right, it's starting to look like it belongs in there now. Excellent. Look, you can see the little bench that you sit on. Ha! Ha! I like this. This is fun. Okay. Well, I think we've gone as far as we can for this round. We'll do the fence and the cemetery next. So remember to save your work. I'm going to save my work just to show you. File save. When you do file save, it just saves it as the name that's up here in the tab. And you'll notice there was like a little star there, and when you save it, that little star goes away. If you do a file save as, you can save it as, you know, as something else. So, all right. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.